We have an update from Targa Exploration Corp. Trades on the CSE under the symbol TEX and on the OTCQB under the symbol TRGEF. It's a Canadian exploration company engaged in the acquisition, exploration, and development of lithium and gold mineral properties with headquarters in Vancouver, British Columbia. Please welcome back President and CEO Cameron Tymstra. Nice to see you again, Cameron. What's your update today?
Good to see you as well. Well, we're still patiently, or maybe more impatiently, waiting for results from our Targa Exploration program. We conducted a month-long exploration program there back in June. We just called the lab this morning to find out where the results are, and they did say that they're on the way, so we do expect those in the next couple of days. So unfortunately, I don't have results from the program to discuss today like I was hoping to have. But we can certainly provide a bit of an update on, exactly what we did back in June and what our expectations are in terms of the results and our plans going forward for September. So just to kind of recap, our main flagship project at Targa is our Targa Exploration project. It's located in the Canadian province of Quebec, which, according to the Fraser Institute's study on or survey on the best jurisdictions to work in the world in terms of mineral exploration and mining. Quebec pretty consistently ranks in the top 5, along with places like Utah and Nevada. So it's a great place for us to do business. And there are some significant deposits in the area as well. So just north of us is Patriot Battery Metals' large lithium pegmatite deposit. It's the largest hard rock lithium deposit in North America. They're only about 40 kilometers north of us or so. And then we're close to some great infrastructure up in this project as well. We've got the Trans-Taiga All Seasons Road just about 50 kilometers north of the project. And parallel to that is a high voltage power line as well that comes from a hydroelectric dam. So we've got great access to electrical infrastructure and transportation infrastructure up in this area. And in terms of gold, because we are looking for gold here at Targa as well as lithium, but we're mostly focused on gold right now at Targa. We do have the Eleanor Gold Mine about 120 or 130 kilometers southeast of us, and that's owned and operated by Newmont, where they produce about 250,000 ounces of gold per year. So what we did here last year is we were originally looking for lithium on this project back in 2023. We did a big regional scale till sampling program across the property last year, really looking for indicators of lithium deposits that were buried beneath the till material. And what we ended up finding instead was a very large, significant gold anomaly in the middle of the project, right smack in the middle. It's about 4 kilometers by 5 kilometers in size. Very significant in terms of its size, but also the grade of gold that we see in the till. Very similar to the gold anomalies associated with other known gold deposits in this part of Canada. So we were very excited about that, which is why we sort of pivoted our attention for the company to gold and away from lithium. Obviously, gold prices at all-time highs in recent weeks, so we're very excited about that as well. And so our program this year was to follow up on this large till anomaly that we found to ultimately try to trace down the bedrock source of the gold that we're seeing. And for those who aren't too familiar with till, basically during the last ice age, 10 to 15,000 years ago, just about all of Canada was covered in ice. And when I talk about covered in ice, I mean ice that is about 1 to 2 kilometers thick. Obviously, that would weigh an awful lot. And as that ice moved across the land, it scraped up pieces of the bedrock and crushed that bedrock down, sort of pulverized it down to gravel and sand and clay, and dispersed that material as that ice traveled across the land and left it there. So as the ice receded, all this material, which we refer to as till, was left covering the bedrock. And in many areas, we have very little bedrock exposure. A lot of it is just this till material sitting on the surface, but we can sample this till to give us clues as to what lies beneath the till in the bedrock. And in the case of mineral exploration, we're looking for things like gold and arsenic and other elemental indicators for gold deposits that can give us clues as to what might be a couple kilometers away, buried underneath the till in the bedrock surface. So here I have sort of an ideal till train anomaly on the left of what potential outcropping mineral deposit could shed into this till material. As the ice moves, you can see the ice flow direction here. Basically, that'll kind of leave a stream of sort of elevated gold values in that till that ultimately comes to surface, and we can sample it at surface. And so it's these surface impressions of this till material that have been enriched in gold that we've been finding at Targa. Now we just have to find where that bedrock is. And typically the depth of the till in this area could be anywhere from just a few meters. Some of our areas of the project do have a lot of bedrock exposure. Some have very little. In other valleys and things like that, this till might be tens of meters deep. So we're going back here to continue sampling this till to ultimately narrow down the large project that we have to just the areas that we think are most prospective for finding gold in the bedrock prior to bringing a drill rig out here to ultimately drill that bedrock and hopefully make a gold discovery in the future. So in terms of the program that we just conducted back in June, following up on that sort of gold anomaly we discovered last year, our plan was to continue going up ice. So that's the direction that the ice came from, to continue our line spacing of these till samples to ultimately look for when the gold anomaly stops. And that'll kind of indicate that you're pretty close to a bedrock source. So we went out there and we did another 1,500 till samples or so. Those are the samples that we're hoping to get back from the lab in the next couple of days. And in addition to those, we also took a number of HMC samples, which are heavy mineral concentrate samples. So we take a larger sample of that till, about 10 kilograms or 20 pounds or so. We send it to a specialized lab that concentrates it down by gravity just to get the densest fraction of that material, which is where all the gold particles would be. And then they look at that material under the microscope to actually look for individual gold grains. And they count the gold grains to see how many gold grains there are per sample. And they also look at the shape of the gold grains to see if they're very pristine with rough edges that would indicate they've not traveled very far and could be close to a source, or whether or not they're a little bit more rounded, which could indicate that they traveled a little bit further. And that's another layer of data that we have that we're collecting to help us, further hone in on where a bedrock source could be. But what really excites us here is really the size of the anomaly. Again, it's about 4 by 5 kilometers in size, which could indicate that there is a wider bedrock source or a more widespread trend out here, whether it's a structure or a geological unit that is shedding this gold perpendicular to the ice direction. So we think there could be something pretty significant out here. So we're waiting for those results to tell us where to go look next. And really the next plans are to go back here in September, following up on whatever area we determine to be the most prospective for a bedrock gold source, to continue narrowing down that location in preparation of a future drill program. So ideally what we'd like to do sort of by the end of September from the fieldwork that we're going to do out there is really help us identify drill targets. We'll probably do a combination of higher density of HMC, those heavy mineral concentrate samples, some additional mapping and bedrock prospecting on the ground with our geology team, and possibly also some airborne geophysics to help us understand what's beneath the till and where the structures are that could potentially be hosting a gold deposit at depth before we bring in a drill rig, potentially early next year. So that's what we have to look out for. In terms of news flow, we're expecting those results any day now, so possibly early or midweek next week. You can likely see some results come out as long as the lab sticks to their timelines there. And then we'll be likely launching a follow-up exploration campaign in September as well, probably a week or two in length, again, to further refine the location of a potential bedrock source in preparation of a drill program. So a lot of potential news coming out on the horizon here, both in the very near term and also in the midterm after our September program. We're backed by a great team of industry veterans on our board and our advisory team. Got some very well-seasoned investors as well that really founded Targa and are very supportive of the company going forward. And they really like the anomalies that we've seen so far and are very excited about the potential to make a discovery here over the next 6 to 12 months. So I encourage everyone to stay tuned. Obviously, it's a shorter update than I was hoping. I was hoping to have some of those assay results back so we could talk about those today. But we'll have to wait a few more days before we can get those back. But we've got a huge land package out there. Again, we're in what's considered one of the top 5 jurisdictions in the world to conduct mineral exploration and to develop mining projects. Very supportive government. Quebec has probably the best tax incentives of any jurisdiction I'm aware of in terms of conducting mineral exploration at a low cost up there. They're very supportive of us. So we look forward to continuing our work there and getting back in the field in just a couple of weeks to follow up on this anomaly and hopefully make a near-term bedrock discovery here.
All right, Cameron, that's great. We do have a few minutes if you want to take a few questions. We do have a few questions concerning the outstanding warrants, if you want to address that.
Yeah, we do have a number of outstanding warrants that are priced anywhere from 10 cents up to 70 cents. The warrants that we did issue as part of our financings back in the end of last year in December and in the spring, sort of March, April of this year, those do have accelerator clauses on them as well. So they're 2-year warrants. But if our share price does trade above a certain price for sort of a 10-day average, then we can accelerate the the expiration of those to try to encourage them to be exercised or expire. So that'll kind of help us eliminate some of those warrants as well. But they kind of have rolling expiration dates. I think by the end of the next year, quite a few of them will be expired by then as well.
And when do you imagine updating the market on recent field work and potential drilling plans for this fall?
Yeah, so again, those assay results from the fieldwork that we completed in June are expected in just the next couple of days. So we'll certainly be updating the market next week on that once we have those, and probably at the same time sort of announcing our plans for follow-up fieldwork in September. And then once we get the results from our September fieldwork in the fall, we're expecting to have enough data at that point to start making plans for a drill program.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for this update. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. Take care. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, everyone.
Cheers.
We'll be right back.